Detective James Reynolds had always prided himself on being a by-the-book cop. His dedication to upholding the law and maintaining order in the city had earned him the respect of his colleagues and superiors. He was known for his meticulous investigations, attention to detail, and unwavering commitment to justice. James had spent decades navigating the complex web of crime, always following the rules to ensure that the guilty were brought to justice. Outside the precinct, James was a family man. His wife, Sarah, had been his high school sweetheart, and together they had raised a daughter, Emily. Emily was now a bright and ambitious college student, determined to carve out her own path in the world. James had always been a supportive father, encouraging her to pursue her dreams while instilling in her a strong sense of morality and respect for the law. One crisp autumn evening, James returned home after a long day at the precinct. He had just wrapped up a high-profile case that had garnered praise from his superiors. As he entered his cozy suburban home, the aroma of Sarah's cooking greeted him, providing a comforting contrast to the chaos of the city. After dinner, James sat down with his family to catch up on the day. Emily seemed distant, her usually lively demeanor replaced by a quiet reserve. James couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, but he dismissed it, attributing it to the stress of college life. Days turned into weeks, and Emily's behavior continued to raise concerns. She was spending more time away from home, and when she was present, she seemed preoccupied and distant. James decided it was time for a heart-to-heart conversation with his daughter. One evening, as they sat in the living room, he broached the subject. Emily looked up at her father, her eyes reflecting a mix of guilt and anxiety. As Emily unfolded the truth, James felt a sinking sensation in his stomach. His daughter had become involved with a group of friends who were on the wrong side of the law. They had been engaging in petty crimes, shoplifting, vandalism, and other misdemeanors. As a detective, he was duty-bound to uphold the law, but as a father, he grappled with the realization that his own daughter had strayed onto the wrong path. The crossroads loomed before him, challenging his principles and testing the strength of his convictions. Over the next few days, James struggled to reconcile his roles as a cop and a father. One day, James made a difficult decision. He would use his skills as a detective to uncover the truth about Emily's involvement, but he would do so discreetly. He couldn't let personal bias cloud his judgment, and if Emily was guilty, she would face the consequences. With determination, James began investigating the activities of Emily's friends. He discreetly collected evidence, relying on his experience and connections within the police force to navigate the shadows without jeopardizing his daughter's future. The process was painstaking, each discovery cutting deeper into James's heart. As the evidence mounted, James realized the extent of Emily's involvement. She wasn't just an unwitting bystander, she had actively participated in criminal activities. The clash between his duty as a cop and his love as a father intensified. James struggled to maintain his composure, torn between the urge to comfort his daughter and the responsibility to deliver justice. In a moment of vulnerability, James sought guidance from his longtime partner, Detective Karen Martinez. Karen had been through her share of tough cases and understood the complexities of balancing personal and professional responsibilities. "James, I know this is incredibly difficult for you. But you have to remember that no one is above the law, not even our own family." James nodded, grateful for Karen's support. The next day, he brought the evidence to the attention of his superiors, requesting that the investigation be handed over to another department to avoid any conflict of interest. The decision weighed heavily on him, but he knew it was the right thing to do. As the legal proceedings unfolded, Emily faced the consequences of her actions. She went through the juvenile justice system, and James watched as his daughter grappled with the repercussions of her choices. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. James continued his work at the precinct, but the emotional toll of the ordeal lingered. He found himself grappling with a sense of guilt, questioning whether there was more he could have done to prevent Emily's descent into the world of crime. Amid the internal struggles, James received an unexpected visitor at the precinct one day. It was Emily, tentatively standing at the entrance with a hesitant look on her face. "Dad," Emily began, her voice trembling, "I wanted to talk. I've been going to therapy, trying to understand why I did what I did. I know I let you down, and I'm so sorry." As father and daughter navigated the difficult conversation, James couldn't help but reflect on the thin line between judgment and compassion. In the weeks that followed, James and Emily attended family therapy sessions together. The counselor helped them navigate the delicate process of rebuilding trust and communication. A series of high-profile cases demanded his attention, and the pressure from superiors to deliver results increased. The lines between right and wrong, justice and mercy, blurred once again. One particularly challenging case involved a notorious criminal organization operating within the city. The leader, known only as the Phantom, had eluded law enforcement for years, leaving a trail of crime and corruption in his wake. The precinct was under immense pressure to bring him to justice, and James found himself at the forefront of the investigation. The Phantom operated with a level of cunning and sophistication that surpassed any adversary James had faced before. It became evident that the criminal organization had infiltrated various layers of society, making it nearly impossible to distinguish friend from foe within the city's shadows. The precinct, desperate for a breakthrough, pushed for more aggressive tactics. James, however, remained steadfast in his commitment to the law. One evening, as James sifted through stacks of evidence in his dimly lit office, he received an anonymous tip. The message claimed to have crucial information about the Phantom's whereabouts and activities. James was cautious, well aware that such tips could be traps. Nevertheless, the allure of finally apprehending the elusive criminal was too strong to resist. Following the lead, James found himself in a derelict warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The air was thick with tension as he cautiously moved through the shadows. As he rounded a corner, he came face to face with the Phantom, a shadowy figure cloaked in darkness. A chilling silence enveloped the room before the Phantom spoke, his voice low and menacing. "Detective Reynolds, you've been a thorn in my side for far too long. But I must admit, your dedication is impressive." He offered James a deal, information that could dismantle the criminal organization in exchange for turning a blind eye to their activities and his freedom. The offer presented an opportunity to eradicate a long-standing threat, but the cost was compromising the very principles he had sworn to uphold. In a moment of clarity, James declined the Phantom's offer and arrested him. The Phantom's influence reached even the highest echelons of law enforcement, exposing the depth of corruption within the system. The situation escalated into a full-blown crisis, exposing the vulnerabilities of the city's law enforcement. Yet, in the midst of adversity, the police found strength in their shared commitment to justice. As the dust settled and the precinct slowly regained control, the Phantom was apprehended. The criminal organization crumbled, its influence dismantled by the unwavering determination of those who refused to compromise their principles. The city, scarred but resilient, began the process of rebuilding. The experience had left its mark on James, shaping him in ways he could never have anticipated. The crossroads of duty and personal responsibility had become a recurring theme in his life, a constant reminder that the path to justice was fraught with complexities and sacrifices. The city, now on the path to recovery, bore witness to the resilience of those who stood firm in the face of adversity. The story of Detective James Reynolds became a legend within the precinct, a tale of redemption, sacrifice, and the enduring pursuit.